let us see processor and memory connections. How processor and memory is connected. How processor and memory are connected. So if you look at the memory, suppose 64 KB. So we can write it is what is the capacity 64 kilobytes it can store. So we have to express memory capacity in terms of 2 powers. So 64 means 2 power 6, K means 2 power 10. So totally 2 power 16 bytes. The power indicate number of address lines. So 2 power 16 bytes. 16 means the power indicate number of address lines. So this memory has 16 memory address lines. So 16 pins A0 to A15. And every memory has 8 data pins D0 to D7. Every memory has read signal and write signal. Right? So how the memory is connected to the processor. So address pins of the memory is connected to address pins of the processor, and data pins of the memory are connected with the data pins of the processor. The read pin and write pins of the memory are connected to read pin and write pins of the processor. In this way, the memory is connected. Right? So if it is connected, how processor works? See here. First step, processor sends 000 H address, and at the same time it will send the read signal. That is second step. So within the 000 instruction byte, first IB0 is transferred through the data pins through the data bus, data voice, and enters into the processor. So instruction byte 0 is executed. And next time the processor issues second address 001. So within the 001 address, instruction byte 1 IB1 is there, see here. So this instruction byte 1 is transferred through the data pins through the data bus and enters into the processor. So IB1 is executed, and next time processor sends 002 address. Within the 002 address, whatever instruction present, that is IB2. Instruction byte 2, that is the instruction is transferred through the data pins of the memory and through the data wires and enters into the processor. So execute. So IB2 is executed. So in this way, the processor goes on sending sequential address to the memory, and memory gives the instruction bytes serially, and all the instruction bytes are transferred through the data bus and enters into the processor. All are executed sequentially. So in this way, processor takes the instruction from the memory and execute the instruction sequentially. So that is the operation of the processor. Okay, this is all about how memory is connected to the processor. Next one is how input to a device is connected to the processor. So each input device has identification number is called address, right? So input device has address pins A0 to A7 and D0 to D7 pins, data pins, and a read signal. So address pins of the input device is connected to address pins of the processor, and data pins of the input device is connected to the data pins of the processor, and read pin of the input device is connected to the read pin of the processor. Now how processor reads input data for input read instruction. If the input read instruction is there, while executing input read instruction, the first processor sends the address to the input device, and at the same time it sends the read signal to the 0 to the input device. Then input device places the data on the data bus. From the data bus, data is transferred to the processor. In this way, the processor accesses input data from the input device. Right? Similarly, how output device is connected to the processor. So each output device has identification number. So that's why it has address pins, so 0 to A7, and it has also data pin D0 to D7 pin and a write signal, right? So our processor writes the data to the output device for output write instruction. First, processor sends address to the output device. Second step, send a write signal to the output device, and processor places the data on the data bus. So processor places the data on the data bus. Then from the data bus, data is transferred to the output device. That is the fourth step. So in this way, so data is transferred from output device to the from processor to the output device. So this is all about how processor input and output and memory is connected, how processor communicates with the processor, how how processor is connected to device input device, how it will communicate. So this is all about processor communicating with input and output and memory device.